Leann, we're obviously recording this on the back of Paul and Robbie leaving the club. How do you reflect back on the events of the last couple of days?
Obviously it's not where we want to be, and so it's been a bit of a disappointing week, let's put it that way. But I think it's important to just first of all say thank you to Paul and Robbie for their time at the club and their efforts and everything that they brought and their qualities while they were here. They obviously made a magnificent difference for us when they came in at the end of last season and really changed our season around. So it's a massive thank you to them for that. But I think it's also fair to say that I don't think we are where we want to be at the moment, and we've had to reflect on that, and ultimately that's meant that Paul and Robbie have left, and as I say, that's really disappointing, not just for them but for us as well.
But it goes without saying that you and we all hold them in the highest regard as people. Yeah,
I mean, they've got fantastic qualities, they're great people, fantastic around the place, and in this occasion it wasn't a decision that was an easy one to take. So I just wish them all the best. As I say, they've been fantastic for us. They've been brilliant for us when they were here. They brought a different dynamic. But I think the truth is now, I think it's an opportunity for us to maybe change things up. Maybe obviously do things maybe slightly differently, and see what the next phase of life at Hibernian looks like.
Yeah, nothing stands still, obviously. So without getting into specific timeframes or anything like that, what is the process? Does it differ slightly from the last couple of times? Or you've been through this now. This will be your fourth.
This will be the fourth recruitment, here at the club. So, I mean, we're pretty much in it with some earnest at the moment. Process is ongoing. I'm going to sort of lead that, supported by Graham Matthew, our new sporting director, and obviously our new chairman, Ron Gordon. This will be his first opportunity to kind of have that experience as well. So, the three of us will be kind of pushing on in that. Obviously, we want to do as we always do, try to get the appointment right. So, we'll take as much time as we need to get that appointment right. But I would hope that we'd like to have somebody in place. You'd like to think to have something in place certainly by the end of this month. That would be a kind of loose target. And
there's obviously a structure here for a reason. That it's a collective effort, but fair to say you're going to be leading this.
Yeah, I mean that's my job at the club. I have to sometimes take these decisions, and I'm the person that that ultimately has to kind of pull this together, but supported by a brilliant team. So it's not going to just be me on my own. It's going to be a big team effort, as it has been before. And we've got some fantastic people behind the scenes who can help us with the elements of things that maybe perhaps we're not so strong at, so data and whatever. So, but be myself, Graham and Ron really at the front of it.
It's been a disappointing season. You touched on that. It's a very congested, tight league. It's maybe too early to talk about salvaging season, but there's still a lot to play for. There's
masses to play for. I mean, we went through one cycle. But let's be honest, we're nowhere anywhere near where we want to be. We don't just want to be a top six club. We've said on record a number of times we want to be a club that is competing in Europe. So the series of results that we've had is not going to get us in that position. So let's not kid ourselves on. But we need to try and be better, and we need to try and improve. And we've made investments. There's masses of investments in the football department over the last 4 or 5 years, and we want to make sure that we can keep that. We want to keep the momentum going. We don't want to be going, in terms of results, going backwards. So, I mean, you could argue elements of it have been luck, fine lines, etc. But at the end of the day, we need to win games, and that's the issue. We need to win games, and only winning games are going to get us up the league. But I don't think we're out of touch. So I think there's still all to play for.
It's the nature of these things that as soon as a position becomes available, names are thrown in. But fair to say you're open-minded about who the next manager is.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think it's a relatively wide net at the moment. We've got a good process. We've added a few different layers to that, but we are in a position where we have to just go through things properly, methodically, and make the considerations. So there's no outstanding front runner, for example. We're very open-minded in terms of the kind of individual that we're looking for. But I think we'll go through the process as we've done in the past, and it will be our determination, as it always has been, to try and find the right person, people.
And you'll be confident that right person or pairing has a lot to work with when they come in the door?
Yeah, I mean, we've got masses to work with. The structure within the club, we still believe is really strong. I think we've got, probably Graham will talk about this in more detail later, but we've had a recruitment over the summer. There's been lots of comments made about that recruitment over the summer. I think it's fair to say, with some hindsight, that there's areas within the team that we might want to strengthen. I think the work will be in January to try and do that. The transfer window's not open at the minute, but so we can't do much about it at the minute. But if we lived our life in hindsight, we'd be winning the Champions League. So that's not how we live our life. We have to make choices and changes as they kind of come towards us. So that will be a determination for us and the guys in recruitment to try and make the adjustments that we need to make in January, because I think it's obvious that we need to make a few.
We've done a couple of these, I think, since the start of the summer, but there has been comment that maybe public facing you've been a bit quieter than supporters have maybe been accustomed to in the last few years. I've seen you at your desk all day, every day. It's obviously not because you're away twiddling your thumbs somewhere. Can you talk people through maybe what the last few months have looked like and what the next few will?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, again, there's a couple of things I did kind of, we had a new management team and we've had a new squad of players, and I think I've said before, I like football to kind of almost in most of the occasions kind of speak for the club. So there's a bit of a decision for me to try and kind of step back and only really speak when there's something material to be said, or there's a discussion from an SPFL or something like that. But it's comment that I get from supporters oftentimes that that they want to say a wee bit more, and I think we need to take that on board. Also, it's been a busy time. We've went through a massive transition. We've got new ownership within the club. That's brought massive energy, and it's opened our mind and kind of that drive and the opportunities that are there for us. And Ron's encouraging us to think differently, and that's what we're doing. So that means that the things that we've been thinking about here at the club for many years, and some of the new things that we've been talking about, we need to see what we can do around the stadium and actually within the environment to make it better, to make it materially better for the fans and then around match day. But we've been, the team have been busy here. You're right, the heads have been down a little bit, and maybe that's affected the communication. So it's a really fair point.
But it's not a case of jam tomorrow, generic promises about things to come. We are down the line with certain aspects of the matchday experience that will make a fundamental impact on the way people enjoy their experience at Easter Road.
Yeah, and I think some of the things that we want to do, and we've been tasked on doing this to make supporters feel when they come to Easter Road at the start of next season that they'll feel it'll be different. And that has many different aspects to that, and some of that is elements that we've been thinking about over the years, but now maybe have the opportunity to deliver, and others will be new ideas and new opportunities kind of driven by that kind of innovation and that kind of determination to kind of shake things up and do things differently. And it's about trying to be better at the things that we do. So if we've been good at doing some things, we want to be better. If we've not been great at doing some things, we want to improve on that as well. So there's a whole raft of things going on at the moment.
And whether you're speaking to supporters at games or behind the goals or the supporters club around the corner or other correspondence, there's probably a lot of things that have been suggested to you that aren't new ideas. There'll be things that there's agreement with within the club. Yeah,
and listen, I think we're almost at the end of it now in terms of what the plan is and the things that are actually achievable. So there'll be some capital investment required for some of them, and other elements, it will be us approaching things in a different way. I don't want to kind of say 10 things that we're going to do. I think we'll be able to talk about that in a bit more detail. I think it's probably for me the focus at the moment is completing those tasks, presenting them along with the rest of the team here at the chairman, and then making a plan as to where we go forward and how we start on that. But the big question for us at the minute is for us, me personally, is get back to football. We need to focus on finding our new head coach and his team, and then we need to be thinking about what's happening towards us in the transfer window, and importantly going to St Johnstone on Saturday and try to change the game. I'll try to make sure that we actually come away from a game with a win, because that has to be absolutely the goal. And nobody in this football club, certainly not me, is under any misapprehension that is not the kind of direction of travel that we need to take.